Good afternoon, every one of you who are participating in this class. Today also we have the class on public administration. Yesterday we have discussed the various principles and concepts relating to public administration, like organization, unity of command, unity of direction, line and stop, supervision and other things. Today we have to discuss on various theories, important theories of public administration, major theories. But minor theories will be discussed in the next class in the topic of administrative behavior. But today, theories in the theories of administration, major theories will be touched and discussed. That we have to do in this hour. There are many theories, major theories like scientific management theory, classical theories, classical theory of public administration, then behavioral theory, then you find system theory. Such major theories are there. Among these theories, let us take the first one, the scientific management theory. Mainly the role played by F.W. Taylor. See, scientific management theory was created in the beginning of the 20th century. She is the forerunner of the scientific management movement was Charles Poppins, Henry R. Thorne, Frederick Haley. Such thinkers have concentrated and contributed a lot towards the scientific management during the beginning of the 20th century. But these were based on the scientific methods with theoretical framework like that. Whereas, see, in F.W. Taylor. So F.W. Taylor contributed a lot to scientific management theory based on the scientific methods with the practical framework like. So that everything is based on science, based on the scientific method. So that is based on the practice rather than the practice. These three things are very important in the contribution of F.W. Taylor. So that even though contributions have been created before F.W. Taylor, F.W. Taylor is considered to be the father of scientific management movement because practice started in the scientific management movement. Then he was followed by Kant, Emerson, Gilbride, Barth, such familiar thinkers in the field of scientific management movement followed F.W. Taylor. It means F.W. Taylor's contribution influenced these thinkers like that. See, now let us come to know particularly the contribution of F.W. Taylor towards the scientific management movement. That is, it is management, according to him, management is a true science and it rests on clearly fixed laws, rules and principles which have universal applicability in all types of organization. That is management. That is, according to Taylor, management is a true science as it rests on clearly fixed laws, rules and principles which have universal applicability in all types of organization. That is management according to it. Means what? It has the definite rules and regulations. It has the universal applicability. It means universally these principles are accepted. So that is known as the management in an organization. But according to Taylor, the main focus of Taylor's contribution was application of scientific methods to managerial practices and the protection of process in industrial organizations. That is main. That is application of management practices with the scientific methods. But all his contributions were based on the following three assumptions. Number one is three assumptions. The contribution of Taylor is based on the following three assumptions. Number one is the organizational functioning can be improved with the application of scientific method. It means scientific methods only can improve the management. Number one. Number two, a good worker is one who does not initiate action but accept the orders of the man. A good worker is the one who does not initiate. He has no right to initiate, but he has to accept the orders of the manager and he has to act effectively. That worker is the good worker. This is the second assumption. Third assumption is every worker is an economic man. Every worker is an economic. Ordinarily, every man is economic man, no doubt in it in the world. But in the scientific management, it is truly speaking, that is, every worker is an economic man because that is, he is motivated by money factors. Everyone in the organization is motivated primarily by the monetary factors, the monetary incentives, monetary remuneration. So, in the world, nothing will motivate a person like that of money. That means money is the best motivator of a man. Like he says, that is implied in this assumption. Like so, every man, every worker is an economic man because he is economically motivated. That is, these are the three assumptions for the contribution of Taylor. Then what are the major principles? 4 major principles. Based on this thing, other contributions were there. Number 1 is development of science in each and every act. Number 1, development of science. That is, rule of thumb should be replaced by rule of work. Rule of thumb should be replaced by rule of. The theory should be replaced by practice. That is number 1. Number 2, scientific selection and training. That is the scientific selection and training. Second principle. Third principle, management should have the workers who have the cooperation among them. Cooperation among the workers is must. That is the third major. And the fourth one is division of and responsibility between the management and workmen should be there. That is very, very important. Division of work, that is a division of work and responsibility among the workers or between the workmen and the management should be there. So these are the major principles contributed by Taylor. That is. So, however, these principles were based on the following characteristics, scientific characteristics. That is in summary we can say, and we can add another one more point also. That is, in a conclusive way, he has stated that the above 4 principles have the following 5 characteristics, scientific characteristics. That is number 1, science, not rule of thumb. Science, not rule of thumb. That is practice, not theory like. You may talk anything and everything, but to what extent we are doing that work, that is very, very important. So science in the place, science, not the rule of thumb. Science in the place of rule of thumb. Practice in the place of theory like that. Number 1, harmony and not discord. Harmonious activities, cooperation among harmonious relationships be there, not only between the management and the workmen, but among the workers. Not discord. So there should be cooperation, harmony, not discord. Second, then cooperation, cooperative act is very, very individualism is not desirable. It's not acceptable. They don't achieve anything. Only collectivism will achieve something. That is collectivism, cooperation. Then maximum output in the place of restricted output. Maximum output in the place of restricted output. That's then another thing is the development of each man to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. Every man has to contribute his greatest efficiency so that there will be prosperity from both the sides, from the workman side and from the management side, from the employee side and the owner side. So, to the maximum extent of possibility, every worker has to contribute the efficiency so that will lead to prosperity of both the sections. Like these are the 5 things, 5 characteristics we can hit based on the 4 principles of scientific management contributed by F.W. Taylor. These things. Now, let us come to know what are the techniques and major contributions. What are the techniques are the major contributions of Taylor towards the scientific management. Number one, the foremost and the first and the foremost contribution is functional foremanship. Functional foremanship. That is, functional foremanship means plural leadership. Every organization, as we have already discussed yesterday, rank classification, position classification. Taylor's contribution includes the positions classification, as in USA. Right? He has given importance to the position classification. So it means he has given to the plural leadership, not a single leadership. Every organization should be headed by a single leader. It is in an ordinary way. And naturally it is happening. It is there everywhere, in every country, in every organization. But it is opposed by Taylor. Every organization should not be headed by one. Instead of one, there should be many. Especially he has specified the number of leaders, that is 8 leaders. So an organization should be headed by 8 leaders. The plural leadership. Plural leadership. This type of organization, according to Taylor, is matrix type of organization. So Taylor supported the matrix type of organization, that is plural leadership. There is horizontal aspects of organization and administration. He supported. So that he concluded that there should be plural leadership. That is, 8 persons should be the leaders of an organization. 8 persons. He said the number of the organization, 8 persons, 8 leaders should be there. 8 leaders, among 8 leaders, 4 should be for planning and 4 should be for the implementation. This or execution. So 4 for planning and 4 for execution. That means 4 for advisory, guidance, advisory leadership for guidance, and 4 for the leadership for the implementation or execution. Based on this concept only, now we are talking about the line and staff. Line and staff. Planning authorities are included in the line today. Execution authorities are included in the staff viewpoint. That principle. So based on this contribution, Taylor's contribution, the modern principle known as line and staff has been created viewpoint. So this is the base for that. You should understand. So according to him, leadership should be plural, not individual or singular viewpoint. In the functional foreman, functional foreman should be many, not one. According to this is known as functional foreman. As such, differential piece rates. Differential piece rates is very, very important. Every man should be paid, should be given the remuneration according to his efficiency. That is known as piece rate system. Not time rate, time bound as a remuneration. 1 month, every month he is paid such and such salary like that. That will make a man lazy according to Taylor, you find. Not time bound remuneration, but achievement bound, piece rate system bound remuneration. If a person that completes such things, such pieces, such works, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, accordingly he should be paid. It means every worker should be paid according to the efficiency. This is known as piece rate system. So it means, according to him, based on the scientific aspect. On the scientific aspect means here, based on the efficiency of the worker, remuneration should be given. That is piece rate system, so that it will activate the workers, employees. And it will motivate the employees more and more to work, to prove their efficiency like that. That is known as differential piece rate system like that. Is saying. Then some other things are you find. Everything should be based on science. For example, scientific selection, that is scientific recruitment, whether it is recruitment within or without, does it matter? Recruitment within or recruitment without. Recruitment within means promotion. Recruitment without means open topic, open, press recruitment like. So whether it is recruitment within or recruitment without, whatever it is, everything should be based on science. Scientifically, employees should be selected. That is recruited through proper ways, proper test examinations, like that, interview like that, proper scientifically, without any bias and prejudice. No bias should play. Money should not play. Favoritism should not play. As it is playing today in not only in Indian administration, everywhere in the world. In any type of recruitment, we find the bias. We find directly or indirectly, we find the bias. Any type of bias. Maybe religion, maybe caste, maybe money, maybe relation, maybe domination, maybe politics, maybe regionalism. So many things or so many factors are playing as the prejudices. But these prejudices should not play in the recruitment. Accordingly, no prejudice should be there. No prejudice should be there in the recruitment system according to Taylor. That is number one. As such, scientific training. Today you are training is given to the employees, private organizational employees or government employees. They are given the training, that is pre-entry training or the post-entry training, orientation training. So many types of things are given to them. But to what extent? In practice, what is there? What is the meaning of the training? It is of no use. Only for the time's sake, or they are going. Only for change, they are going. They don't want to develop the technique and the method a lot as per the changing well. They don't. So this is going on. The only norm was training, not practical and scientific training is not going. That thing is done. So scientific training should be as according to their position or placement. Their training could be given. Placement is very, very important. Whatever the capacity a person has, according to the capacity and the qualification, in the due place he should be, or appropriate place he should be placed. Where he can work, where he can effectively and successfully work, in that place he should be placed. That is necessary. So appropriate placement. Even placement should be based on the science. But that number fourth one is remuneration. Why man is working? Why employees are working? For remuneration, for pay. You find their pay or remuneration should be based on the efficiency. The man works more, he should be paid more. Work less, he should be paid less. No work, no pay. More work, more pay. That is the principle of scientific. So that is pay or remuneration should be fixed as per the capacity of the workers. That is very important. So these are the things. So everything should be based on the science. Whether selection or recruitment or training or promotion or placement or remuneration or other benefit, retirement benefit or anything should be based on the science. So that the Taylor's contribution is known as scientific method. So that he is said to be the father. Even though many thinkers have contributed on scientific management, there is a speciality with the contribution of Taylor, so that he is said to be the father of scientific management. That is so in such a way. It means everything should be based on science. Everything should be based on practice, not theory or rule of thumb. Like that, he said. Right. So money, basically man is motivated by money. Accordingly, he should be paid. So for the motivation, that is the best motivation factor. Accordingly, pay should be fixed, mainly based on the capacity of the workers, efficiency of the workers, like that. Then following the contribution of Taylor, some other thinkers like Kant, Emerson, Gilbride, such thinkers have contributed towards to scientific management. But primary contribution was done by Taylor. There is no doubt. But in these things, but there was a lot of criticism and opposition to the scientific management theory, because the later the thinkers who belong to human relation theory or behavioral theory, they have criticized the scientific management theory because it is a theory based on the rigidity, not flexibility. Mainly scientific, mainly there are so many criticisms, but primarily it is everything is based on the rigidity and long precision, hard thing, not soft thing, not flexibility, but rigidity. Rigid principles, not flexible principles. However, this is the good contribution because it mainly deals with the scientific management, scientific based on the scientific management method, scientific method with the practical approach. Right? That's good. Now, this is relating to the scientific management theory. For one. Number two, now let us come to know classical theory of public administration. Scientific management theory, which was created in the beginning of 20th century. Then let us come to know the classical theory of public administration. In the quarter century of part of the 20th century, that has been created. These theories have been contributed by classical thinkers. Even though there are many classical thinkers, we can identify the most important thinkers. You find Henry Fayol, a French administrative thinker. You find French administrative thinker number one. Henry Fayol. Then second, Luther Kulik and Lyndall Arvik. These thinkers are the primary thinkers in the classical theory because they have contributed a lot to this theory, to the classical theory. You find that is very, very important. So that then find, but this theory, classical theories are said to be the formal organization theory, or traditional theory, or structural theory, or mechanistical theory, or administrative theory of management, like that, according to Marx and Simon. So Marx and Simon has titled or named differently to the classical theory of public administration. That is traditional theory, formal organization theory, structural theory, mechanistic theory, like that. They have classified. But you find now let us, among the thinkers of classical theory, the foremost and the first thinker we can say Henry Fayol. He is said to be the father of classical theory. Classical theory is because his contribution is more, and his contribution is the base for the later's contribution. So that he is said to be the father of the classical theory. You find that is very, very important. But you find the Henry Fayol theory is based on the three things. Number one, activities, three contributions. Number one, activities of industrial undertaking. Then second, elements of administration. Then third, principles of administration. Three things that we have to see. Activities of industrial. Number one, three contributions, major contributions. My friends, whenever we are looking into a particular contribution of particular thinker, we have to know the major contribution of the thinker. For example, you find scientific management theory, you find major principles. What are the major principles? Major contribution like that, method like that we have functional formanship, the exceptional principle, this thing we have to understand. As such, Fayol's contribution, you find three things, that is activities of an undertaking. Then you find elements of administration, then you find principles of. Now, what are the activities according to you? Whether it is a governmental organization or private organization, especially in the industrial organization, there should be 6 activities according to Henry Fayol. What are the 6 activities? Number one, technical activity. Technical activity like protection, manufacture, adaptation. Commercial activities, buying and selling, like that. Then financial activities, let's say, there's financial activities. Then security activities. then accounting activities, and management or administrative activities. These are the 5 kinds of activities that should be included or that should be followed in an organization, whether it is public or private or government, especially in the industrial organization. Because at that time, during the beginning of the 20th century, that time it was given to private organizations. There were no universal principles or principles of public administration. So based on this contribution, only public administrative principles have been created. The thinkers have studied the private organization and contributed the principle. Based on that thing, the principles of public administrations were created. That is true. So Henry Fayol, they said 6 types of activities in an organization. Then second one, what are elements of organization? What are the elements? According to Henry Fayol, the elements are nothing but POCCCC, 3 C's. These are not only definition or the function or scope of public administration or administration. These are the elements of administration, we can say. Elements. We can say elements or the definition of administration or definition of public administration or scope of public administration or functions of public administration or functions of management, scope of like that. These things are included in this particular contribution. That is, elements of administration is nothing but POCCC. P for planning, O for organizing, C for commanding, another C for controlling and coordinating. Coordinating, commanding, coordinating, and controlling and coordinating. Like that. So these are the five major elements according to Henry Fayol. This is very important. Second thing, that is, it is nothing but POCCC. In short, we can say what is public administration? POCCC is public administration. What is management? POCCC is public administration according to Fayol. Like that. Post-guard is public administration according to Luther Cooley. Post-guard is public administration. That is the definition. One word can be said as a definition of public administration or administration or organization or management, like that. For this question, we can put only one answer. Simply a word is answer for all the questions, like post-guard or POCC, like that. That is another thing. Now let us come to know third contribution, that is principles of, what are the principles contributed by Henry Fayol to public administration? That is universal principles you find. Still universally these are accepted you find. And not only accepted but followed you find. So that still we are studying about that thing. Still these are in practice you find. There are 14 principles. 14 principles of administration. 14 principles he has contributed. Based on his study and contribution, based on various researches conducted by him, he has concluded and contributed the 14 principles. 14 principles. That is division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination to the individual interest to common interests, remuneration, centralization, scalar chain, order, equity, stability of tenure, initiative, esprit de harps. Esprit de harp is harmony among the workers, harmony between the workmen and the management. So harmonious activities in an organization. So 14 principles, major principles you find. See, one principle you find, for example, some division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, you know. Unity of command, you know. We have known unity of command means one person should receive order from one authority, higher authority. That is unity of, but we didn't know, we didn't discuss about unity of direction. He has given the principle unity of direction. Unity of direction is nothing but one organization should have one leader, one purpose, and one functions, like that. One purpose, one leader, and one function, like that. Everything should be one. 3 things should be one. One leader, one function, one purpose. That is unity of direction. Because If any organization is there, it should be for a particular purpose. It should not be for the many purposes. But for particular purpose, every institution should be established. That is unity of direction. There should not be any diversion from the purpose or the function or the leadership. Like that is unity of command like that. But main principle you find subordination of individual interest to common interest. See, everyone is basically having this self-interest. There is no doubt, individual interest. But in the organization, even the individual interest should be based for the common interest. That is very, very important. You work for your own interest, for your salary, for your own. But at the same time, it should be helpful for the common interest. The common interest means collectively, you find the company should be developed. The organization should be developed. So that you will develop. You will develop. That is very, very important. Remuneration, centralization, scalar hierarchy you find. Equity, stability, initiatives, esprit de heart. You see, the esprit de heart means harmony, harmonious activities, harmony. These 14 principles are universal principles contributed by Henry Fayol. These can be said. These are not only the principles of administration, but also these are 14 principles of organization. These are 14 principles of public administration. These are 14 principles of organization. These are 14 principles of management, we can say. For all things, we can apply and use these 14 principles, you find. Even the management thinkers, the students, they will say the 14 principles of management. The student of public administration will use it, these 14 principles of public administration. You find like that. This is applicable to all. Like that. So these are the 14 principles you find. Now, the main contributions are three. You find, see, activities of an organization. Second one is elements of organization, elements of administration, and the principles of that is 14 principles. This is contributed by Henry Fayol, primarily the father of classical theory. Second, as such, following the contribution of Fayol, Luther, Kulik, and Lindell. See, Luther, Kulik has main contribution, three things. Luther, Kulik's contribution is three things. As Henry Fayol contributed 14 principles, Luther, Kulik contributed 10 principles. 10 principles. Nearly, more or less, the same principles like that. Same principles. So you find stop and line, delegation, span of control, coordination, division of work, unity of command, these things. But you find something, span of control, stop and line, unity, also 10 principles you find. Fayol 14, Luther, Kulik 10 principles. Number one. Number two, Luther, Kulik has given the basis of organization. There are 4 bases we have already discussed. 4 P's: purpose, process, persons, and place. 4P formula. 4P's formula are the basis of organization, basis of administration, basis. So he has given the contribution. He has contributed to the basis. Contributed the basis to public administration. 4 bases. 4 bases. 4 bases. நான்கு அடிப்படைகள். Purpose, functional. Process, skills. Then you find persons, clientele. Then you find place, area. So these are the 4 major bases for public administration. According to him, this is the second contribution. Third one is you find 7 elements of public as the contribution of Henry Fayol, elements of public administration. According to Henry Fayol, that is POCCC like that. As said, elements of administration according to Luther, Kulik, that is postcard, P for planning, O for organizing, S for stopping, D for directing, CO for coordinating, R for reporting, and P for budgeting. Postcard, that is 7 elements are there. Fayol stressed 5 elements, whereas Luther, Kulik stressed the 7 elements. That is postcard. So we can use this postcard for many questions. What is public administration? What is organization? What is management? What are the functions of management? What are the functions of, you find, public administration, organization, scope for all, scope of administration, scope of organization, scope of management. For all the things, we can use this thing as answer. As answer. What is public administration? Postcard is. What is management? Postcard is. What is organization? Postcard. What is the scope of administration? Postcard. Scope of management? So. What are the functions? This like for dynamically, these dynamic ideas that may be used for the dynamic questions, various questions as answers like that. That is very, very important. These are the main things. The number one is you find 10 principles. 10 principles of a second, 4 bases of public administration, 4 bases of organization, and then 7 elements of administration. This is according to Luther Kulik. Then Lindell Arvik has contributed, you find, only 8 principles. Bayol 14 principles, Luther Kulik 10 principles. Then the contribution of Lindell Arvik is, you find, 8 principles. Nearly one and the same principles. So 8 principles he has. According to him, 8 principles are very important, are basis for public administration, according to Lindell. So that he has contributed 8 principles. 14, 10, 8 you find. But apart from that, Lindell Arvik contributed 8 principles. Apart from that, he has contributed another thing, that in the year 1943, in his book, The Elements of Administration, he published his book, Lindell Arvik published his book titled The Elements of Administration in the year 1943. In that book, he has listed or categorized the 29 these principles, sub-principles. He has contributed 8 major principles, Lindell Arvik. And he also contributed the sub-principles to the major principles. The sub-principles are 29 according to him. Major 29 principles he has contributed. See, you find 29. See, simple principle. Even though these are simple and easily understood and easily understand. But 29, the sub-principles are very important in public administration. So, Lindell Arvik, as far as Lindell Arvik is concerned, only 2 things are there. Number 1 is 8 principles of public administration, major principles, and 29 sub-principles to the major principles like that. That is very, very important. Then, whatever these are second thing, first primary contribution done by Henry Fayol, then Luther Kulik and Lindell Arvik. This primary contribution by these 3 prime thinkers. Then other contribution by Mooney and Reilly, for example, Mooney Reilly towards the classical. For example, Mooney and Peary has given the main principles like coordination, a scalar process, that is hierarchy, functional differentiation, that is functional responsibility. Then line and stop, you know very well, line and stop, that is line agency, stop agency, the implementation agency, advisory. The line and stop, they have contributed, you find. According to them, you find coordination is the first and foremost principle, as we have already discussed. So they have focused on coordination. But jointly they have contributed these principles. Mooney and Reilly cannot be separated, because every contribution is done by joint other, by them jointly, you find. That is Mooney and Reilly. They cannot be separated. So this is relating to the classical theory. Now, classical theory. But even there are, every theory has its own criticism, its own advantages and disadvantages. Mainly, the other thinkers have criticized on that. In some aspects, you find. That is true, everybody. But classical theory is said to be only formal theory, only mechanistic theory, only it is based on theory, only it is based on the principles explicitly, not practices, you find. No, it's based on theory, not science. It is only for formality, not practice like that. In such a way, the classical theory is criticized, you find. This is second. Well, now we have discussed, number 1 is Scientific management theory mainly contributed by Taylor, and then classical theory mainly contributed by Henry Fayol, then Luther Kulik and Lyndall Erwin, then Moonian really. Now let us move towards the bureaucratic theory. Bureaucratic theory, you find, when you say bureaucratic theory, two persons or two things have to come to our mind. You find number one, Marcian Marx and Karl. Marcian Marx, Karl Marx, Max Weber, like Marcian Marx, Karl Marx, Max Weber, like Robert Michel, like that. Bureaucracy, the term bureau has been taken from French language, which means desk. At first, it was coined by Vincent de Gournay. Bureaucracy was at first coined by Vincent de Gournay in the year 1746. 1746, the term was coined. That is that from the French language known as bureau means a desk. Bureaucracy is desk. And we can say bureaucracy is a form of government. It is a desk government. We can say in public administration. What is bureaucracy? Bureaucracy is the desk government. It is the desk government. It is the government by the officials, we can say. That is. But with that, some thinkers like Karl Marx, Max Weber, Robert, mainly Max Weber's contribution is there towards the bureaucracy like that. That is very, very important. See, what is now, at first we have to know the authority. What is theory of authority? According to let us know Marcian Marx or other or Karl Marx contributions are little towards the bureaucracy, but more contribution was done by Max Weber. So that we have to know the contribution of Max Weber in particular. You find first, what are the contributions? First of all, take the theory of authority. Then the theory of authority. We have already discussed yesterday. When we say the theory of authority, authority is of three types. According to Weber, we have to know the meaning. According to Weber, the power, the probability that one actor within a social relationship will be in the position to carry out his own will despite resistance. In a definition like that. But authority, when you say authority, mainly depends upon the depends upon his the position you find. According to him, there are three types of authority. That is traditional authority, charismatic authority, and legal authority. Legal authority, traditional. First one is traditional. Second one is legal, and third one is charismatic. But conclusively, he has identified legal rational authority. Finally, he supported the legal rational authority. Traditional authority, you find, that includes the traditional pattern of respect. For example, king or queens, their leadership. Even now, some are having the traditional leadership, you find. That is practiced in some area, in some country. Even now, more than 40 countries of the world are having the monarchical system, you find. That is, you find. So traditional authority is existing still. Even in the primary countries like England, you find Japan, you find Malaysia, you find Australia, Canada, some countries, the traditional authority is followed. That system is followed because there we find the monarchical system, you find. Right? Number two, legal authority. Legal authority is whether to the administrative position or to the political position, everyone has to come to that position with a proper and due precision. That's legal authority. Whether Prime Minister of India or the President of India or the MLAs, MPs or ministers, whosoever may be in politics, or local body members, whosoever may be, they should come to the position by the legal procedure, through the proper means, through the constitutional ways, by the elections, you find, they should occupy the post like that. That is through proper ways, whether it is a political position or it is an administrative position, IAS, IPS, or fourth group, or second group, or first part of it. IAS, a person is IAS, X is IAS, like that. How he has become an IAS? Through proper procedure, through the constitutional means. They have to come to the position like IAS, IPS, like that. So whatever, the political or administrative position, they have to come by the legal way. That authority is known as legal authority. Legal authority. The second. Third one is charismatic authority. Charismatic authority is that authority will attract the people a lot more than that of the traditional authority and the legal authority. Legal authority. You find some leaders, for example, one leader, Annadurai, former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, is addressing in a meeting like that. Lakhs and lakhs of people are assembling like that. Dr. M.G. Ramachandran, a leader, former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, is addressing in a meeting. Lakhs and lakhs of people are assembling like that to hear the words of and to see the charismatic leadership of MGR like that. So that the charismatic leadership of MGR attracted the people like that. Right? So that leader has subsequently he has occupied the post. Continuously he has occupied the post of Chief Ministership without any break like that. Like that, you find the former Chief Minister M. Karunanidhi. If there is a meeting of Karunanidhi, then lakhs and lakhs of people will be assembling there to hear the words of Kalaignar like Karunanidhi like that. That type of charisma of Karunanidhi attracted the people a lot like that. Like that Jayalalitha. When Jayalalitha speaks in the meeting, people were there as an assembly. The lot of assembly, more number of persons attended because of the charismatic leadership of Ms. Jayalalitha like that. Such charismatic leadership you find were existing. We can say many examples you find. Many examples. That is, so charismatic, attractive, it will attract more the people. That is. Then finally he has supported and concluded the legal rational authority. Everything. Classified these three, but it should be better. If it is legal, it should be rational. Legal and rational leadership is essential. That is must for the modern welfare state system, and it is must and it is necessary for the modern democratic administration. Where and when and where we have to focus on the welfare and development of the people. For that, it is necessary. That is legal rational authority according. This is number one, the first contribution of Max Weber. Number second contribution, that is bureaucracy. Bureaucracy means, according to him, bureaucracy is the disgovernment as we define disgovernment. In the bureaucracy, he identified some characteristics of bureaucracy. What is bureaucracy? And it is nothing but government by official. No. Bureaucracy should be having the following characteristics. First one is proper selection, proper remuneration, rigidity, and the unbiasedness, no biasness in any activity, no biasness, ideal activity. So many features or the characteristics should be there for bureaucracy. But even though there are many types of bureaucracy are there, that is inside bureaucracy, then many bureaucracies are classified. Administrative, this thing, then you find he finally concluded the bureaucracy, which is the best bureaucracy, that is ideal type bureaucracy. He has mentioned and they concluded on the ideal type bureaucracy. It means, according to him, a bureaucracy should be ideal. Every bureaucrat should work ideally. Ideally means every bureaucrat or every employee should work as a machine. A machine will not have any bias. Any bias. For example, we are sitting under the fan. Under the fan, if we switch on, that will run. No problem at all. If we put off, then it will stop. That's all. There is no bias. If power is available, that's all. Whereas the same thing, can we expect this thing from a man? That cannot be expected. Every man may be having his own biases. whether he is an administrator or bureaucrat or public or politician, everyone has his own biases. Everyone may be having. See, a person may say, I am unbiased man. A person may say, but it is not true. Even myself, I say, I have some bias. Every person in the world has his own biases. Nobody is unbiased one. That is true. That is man. Every that is அவர்தான் மனுஷன். மனுஷன் யாரு பயாஸ் இருக்க. பயாஸ் இல்லாத மனிதன் யாரும் குறை இல்லாத. அதுதான் பயாஸ் இல்லாத மனிதன் இருந்தா யாரு? அவன் தெய்வம். There is no, if he is an exceptional case, the man is not having any bias, then he is not a man but God, we can say. சொல்லலாம் இல்லையா? ஒரு துளி கூட அவனுக்கு விட்ட எந்த விதமான பயாஸ் கிடையாது. இன்றுக்கு தன்னுடைய மகளே வந்தாலும் கூட அதை கன்சிடர் பண்றதே கிடையாது. யாரு மெரிட் ஆனவன் அவனை தான் போடுவார். அதே அன்பயாஸ். நான் இருக்கேன் ஒரு செலெக்ஷன்ல உட்கார்ந்து நான் என்ன பண்றேன், என்ன பேட்டர்லாம் இந்தியாவில் விளையாடுது. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஆஃப் ஆல் ரிலேஷன்ஸ், மணி, ரிலிஜியன், காஸ்ட், இன்ஃபுளுன்ஸ், so many things are playing in the recruitment. So many things. இது in terms of biases, prejudice. ஆனா எந்த பிரிஜுடிலையும் பார்க்காம ஒருத்தர் ரெக்ரூட் பண்றான்னா முடியுமா? போடணுமா? அது அன்பயாஸ் முடியுமா? ஏதாவது ஒரு விதத்துல டைரக்டா இன்டைரக்ட்லி பயாஸ். That is true. இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்கள்லாம் இருக்கு. So unbiased bureaucracy is unbiased bureaucracy in any way, or mechanistic bureaucracy is that was supported by bureaucracy. It means every bureaucrat should work as a machine without any orientation or bias. எந்த ஒரு நிர்வாகி பியூராக்ரட் அப்படி வேற ஒண்ணுமே இல்லை. அப்படி ஒர்க் பண்ணாதான் அது பியூராக்ரசி நல்லது. ஒரே வார்த்தை, ஐடியல் டைப் பியூராக்ரட், ஐடியல் மேன். எவரி பியூராக்ரட் should be ideal. Ideal bureaucrat, ideal bureaucracy is they should work as a machine without any problem, any bias. Like that. That is it. It is like a machine. So this is second. Like, see, in the even the contribution of Max Weber is has been criticized by some mother. It is a mechanistic theory. It is a rigid theory like that. A rigid theory like that. In the bureaucracy, we can discuss a lot. We can discuss how we can discuss. So bureaucratization, over bureaucratization, debureaucratization. What are the reasons for the over bureaucratization? How to debureaucratize it? What is the situation there? Minister, what is the nature of the minister and civil servant, bureaucrat? What is the nature? What is the nature of bureaucracy, sir? What is the situation in which the over bureaucratization? What is the situation for the debureaucratization? That is there. These things are included in the contribution of Max Weber. We have to discuss a lot. So in brief, I say, according to him, ideal type bureaucracy should be there. That is, but it is finished because it is based on the rigidity or mechanism of life. Now let us come to know the next thing, that is ideas of Mary Parker Pollard. Ideas of Mary Parker Pollard. Mary Parker Pollard is you find his contribution. Mary Parker Pollard is nearly only one female thinker, administrative thinker towards the public administration. She has contributed a lot, but very important contribution we find. We know very well. So very MP Pollard you find. MP Pollard you find at the end of the 19th century to the beginning of the 20th century, he worked and he did many researches in public administration and contributed a lot to the public administration in terms of various principles. But one thing, his principle or theory made a bridge between the classical and the behavioral. Classical theory is there, behavioral theory is there. Somewhat it has its own development rather than the classical theory. It is a developed principle. That this behavioral theory. So between the behavioral theory and classical theory, MP Pollard's theory is a bridge. That means that makes the bridge between both. That is classical theory and behavioral theory. That we have to understand. So it's such a contribution he has done. Number one, some contributions. Number one, conflict and integration. How a conflict will be there in an organization? He has discussed. And what will be the integration? Number one, contribution. Second, giving orders. How to give the orders? How to give the orders? Now, third one is the new concept of power. Then authority and responsibility. Then leadership. Then planning and coordination. These are the major principles. Major contribution given by. First of all, you take conflict and integration. Conflict and see, there will be, but when we say conflict is necessary sometimes. If it is constructive conflict, according to him, constructive conflict is necessary, but problematic conflict is not necessary. It should be avoided. That is, so she said, constructive conflict. How they followed as suggested the three ways to resolve the conflict. How to resolve the conflict? By three ways we can resolve that according to MP Folland. What are the three ways? Number one, domination. By domination, we can, by the authoritative system, by the leadership style, we can control that conflict. Control. Then by compromise. By compromise, we can resolve the conflict. And third one is by integration. But she supported and she gave more importance to integration rather than the domination and compromise. That is very, very important. Like that, another thing, giving up orders. How to give the orders to the subordinate? It is depending upon the attitude of the subordinates. Attitudes. You should know the attitudes of the employees or the subordinates. Based on that, we have to give the orders to them. Whether it is, following the classical theory, following the same thing she has followed in terms of giving orders to the subordinate. How to give the orders? Then what is power? Two new concepts have been created or advocated by MP Folland. What are the two relating to the concept of power? Number one is power over and power with. What is power over and power with? Power over means a person who enjoys the power more and more. Who has the chance, who will be having the opportunity, who will use that thing in other way. Or misuse of power may be happen. Or arbitrary power like that. That is power over. Power with means you find power with. Means legitimately a person with power will act legitimately, will be working properly, effectively, not for the self-interest, but for the common interest, for the people, not for him like that. But whereas power over, it is not like that. It will be working for the individual. It will be for the self-interest, not for the common, like that. But power over should be reduced. That should be avoided. What are the ways to reduce the power over? There are three ways to avoid or to reduce the power over, according to her. Number one is the use of integration. The correct use of circular behavior, and third one is use of the law of the situation. These three things can reduce the power over. Okay. So she has introduced two concepts, that is power over, power. You should understand. That is the main contribution of Folland. Another contribution is authority and responsibility. That is the authority and responsibility means there is functional authority, functional responsibility. There is pluralistic responsibility. Pluralist, not individualism, but pluralism like that. So that is. Then leadership. The main contribution is on leadership. What are the three types of leadership? Three types of leadership she has identified. Number one is leadership of position, that is formal authority. Leadership of position, leadership of personality, and leadership of function. Leadership of function. That is very, very important. Leadership of function is necessary rather than the leadership of position and leadership and the personality like that. So she has mentioned three types of leadership. Who is leader? Who is a leader? A leader is one who is heading the department or organization in public administration. That's all according to that. But there are three types. A functional leader is accepted. He is welcome rather than other types of leaders. That is leadership with position and leadership with leadership of personality. So that is there. So the leadership of function is necessary in every organization according to that. What are the functions of leadership? What are the functions? Only four functions he has done. What are mainly four functions? First one is coordination. Coordination function. Then second one is definition of purpose. Third one is anticipation. That is in terms of anticipation means that includes the meeting and other things, meetings and some process. And another thing is the fourth one is to organize the experience of crew. Experience of crew. That is individual power should be changed as a crew power. Individual power should be changed as a crew power. Instead of one person, there should be many persons. Instead of power is enjoyed by one, there should be enjoyed by a group. That is, individual power should be changed as group power. That is four. To that extent, he has to function, leadership function. Then develop leadership among the subordinates. Among the subordinate, one should develop himself as leader. Like that is. A leader should teach and train his subordinates how to control a situation, how to control a situation. That is very, very important. That training is must. This was stated by Henry Fowler, F.W. Fowler like that. Then another thing, main contribution of F.W. Fowler was planning and coordination. Planning, how to coordinate. There are four types of coordination according to them. That is, coordination by direct conduct. Directly in the field, every leader has to go and coordinate the activities. Number one. Number two, coordination in the early stage. In the beginning of the organization or in the beginning of anything, any administrative process, in the beginning itself, the coordination should start. Coordination should be given important. It is coordination at the early stage. Then coordination as a continuing process. Coordination is a continuing process in an organization. It is true. It is not a static process happening at a particular time or period or a particular place. It is not like that. Coordination, what is education? Education to a man starts from the birth to death. It is not a static process, but dynamic one. Even after you see, after the retirement, I am studying, you find. I have to study up to my death, you find. Up to my death, I have to teach. Because I have known only little bit. As Abhayar said, I don't know like that. I know only little. Public. I know, that's all. In politics, public, even after retirement, 33 years of service I have put in political science and politics, but still I may not be knowing all. No, little bit I know. What I know, I am teaching. That's all. That is there. So like that, coordination. So education is a continuous process in one's life. Like that, coordination is a continuous process in any organization like that. That is true. Then another one, continuous coordination as a reciprocal phenomenon. Yes, reciprocal between the workman and the management, between the consumers and the organizations, like that is a reciprocal like that. So these are the four major things, major elements of the coordination, major kinds of coordination according to that. So F.W. Follett's contributions are, number one is conflict and integration, then giving the orders, new concept of power, authority and responsibility, leadership, and planning and coordination. But at the same time, we have to know these contributions are making a bridge between the classical theory or the traditional theory and bureaucratic theory. Bureaucratic theory like contributed by Barnard or Simon like that. Such a theory, between such a theory or Likert or Adgeris. So one side Adgeris, Likert, Barnard and Simon, that is from the behavioral theory, and from the classical theory you find Henry Fayol, Luther Gulick, Lindell Arvik, Mooney, really like this side, this classical theorists, behavioral theories. In between, there is a role of F.W. Follet, MP Follet. Yeah, so MP Follet contribution makes the bridge between both. That we have to understand. So, right now, let us come to know the ideas of Barnard. Who belongs to the behavioral theory? Mainly behavioral theory, that we have to understand. Behavioral theory. I think this we may not be discussing all the theories. All theories may not be completed. You find in the next class only we can complete. Because when we are studying the theories, major theories, we have to know the detail. We have to know detailing. ஓரளவுக்கு நல்ல ஓரளவுக்கு தெரியும். ஒரு தியரி இப்போ ஒரு பார்னார்ட் சொன்னா தியரி ஆஃப் அத்தாரிட்டி தெரியும். ஒரு 2-3 கான்செப்ட் அவர் சொன்னது தெரியும். நிச்சயமா மேஜர் கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் வி ஷுட் நோ வாட் ஆர் தே. MP Follettனா அவருடைய கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் நம்மளுக்கு நல்லா தெரியணும். மேஜர் கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன். Inner thing you go and in a detailed way you prepare and discuss. There is a different thing, but major thing everybody should know. The student of public administration. There is no excuse. Major contribution we have to know. If you say, you see, one thinker you find. When you say, you find Barnard, then Barnard main contribution on authority. See, then MP Follett you find on leadership like that. Then Elton Mayo on human relations you find. Simon on decision making theory. Decision making. Maslow on motivation theory. Like that. Then when you say the name Henry Fayol, you find the 14 principles of public administration. 14 principles. Postcorp is related. Postcorp is the contribution of Luther Gulick. POCC is the contribution of Henry Fayol. Like that, when you say a particular name of the thinker, we have to know immediately say that the major contribution of the other thinker like that. To that extent, let us know at first. அதுக்கு வந்து யாரு என்னென்ன மேஜர் கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் கொடுத்திருக்காங்கன்றத முதல்ல தெரியும். மேஜர் அட்லீஸ்ட் தட் we have to understand. Then minor contribution, the contributions, that is different. You may know, you may not know some major contribution. For example, you find, see, when Fayolனா 3 விஷயம் நீங்க தெரியணும். Fayolன்னு சொன்னா is the father of classical theory of public. Number 1 அவர்தான். ஏன்னா மேஜர் பிரின்சிபல்ஸ் உருவாக்குறதுக்கு காரணம். Number 1. Number 2, அவருடைய மேஜர் கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் 3. One is element, that is activities of organization. Number 1, ஆர்கனைசேஷன் 6 ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ். அவர் சொன்னது ஒவ்வொரு ஆர்கனைசேஷனும் 6 செயல்பாடுகளை செய்யணும். ரெண்டாவது எலமெண்ட்ஸ் ஆஃப் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன், that is POCCC, ஸ்கோப் ஆர் ஃபங்க்ஷன்ஸ் ஆஃப் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன், அது 2. மூணாவது வந்து 14 பிரின்சிபிள்ஸ் ஆஃப் பப்ளிக். இது 3 உள்ளடங்கினாதான் then the contribution of Henry Fayol will be over. It is complete. அப்பதான் அவருடைய இது முழுமையாக. இது எதுலையும் விட்டாலுமே அது முழுமை. இந்த மேஜர் பிரின்சிபல் நீங்க 14 பிரின்சிபல் எழுதும்போது 2 பிரின்சிபல் விடுங்க, அதை பத்தி பரவாயில்ல. 10 பிரின்சிபல் அசச் 7 பிரின்சிபல் எழுதிட்டு இன்னொரு அசச் 14 பிரின்சிபல்ஸ் எழுதிக்கலாம். அது தப்பு இல்ல. 14 மனப்பாடம் பண்ணி எழுத வேண்டியதில்லை, அப்படி இல்ல. 7 பிரின்சிபல் எட்டு தெரியுது, மீது அசச் he has contributed 14 principles, அது எழுதலாம். ஆனால் மேஜர் கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன்ல எப்படி எழுத முடியுமா? மேஜர்னா 3 தான், அவ்வளவுதான். ஆக்டிவிட்டிஸ் ஆஃப் ஆர்கனைசேஷன், செகண்ட் எலிமெண்ட்ஸ் ஆஃப் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் அண்ட் 14 பிரின்சிபிள்ஸ் ஆஃப் ஆர்கனைசேஷன் ஆர் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் ஆர் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட், வாட் எவர் இட் இஸ். ஹியர் பப்ளிக் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் 14 பிரின்சிபிள், அது அவ்வளவுதான். அதே லூதர் குலிக் எடுத்துக்கிட்டீங்கன்னா 3 விஷயம் தான். Luther Kulikin another one 10 principles, four bases of public organization, and then postcard elements of meaning elements of administration or public administration. Postcard. Also, these are the three cards. சொல்லணும்ல அதே போல லிண்டல் அறிவி கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன்னா ரெண்டு முக்கியமான விஷயம். லிண்டல் அறிவி ஒன்னு 8 principles of public administration, major principles, and 20 sub principles of major. அது தெரியணும். இது ரெண்டு இந்த விஷயமாவது ஓரளவுக்கு முதல்ல தெரிஞ்சுக்கணுமா இல்லையா? அது என்னென்ன சில விஷயங்கள் தெரியும். அதுதான் மேஜர் ஆஃப் பொலிட்டிக்கல் பப்ளிக் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன்ல எல்லா திங்கரை பத்தி பிரைமரி திங்ஸ் நம்ம தெரிஞ்சு வச்சுக்கணும். அது ரொம்ப முக்கியமான கான்ட்ரிபியூஷன் பூரா ஒவ்வொரு திங்கர். ஹெர்பர்ட் சைமனை பார்க்கும்போது ஹெர்பர்ட் சைமன் மேக்ஸ் வெபர்னா ரெண்டு விஷயம் தான். மேக்ஸ் வெபர் சொன்னா ரெண்டு ஒன்னு அத்தாரிட்டி அண்ட் பியூரோக்ரசி, அவ்வளவுதான். வாட் இஸ் அத்தாரிட்டி, வாட் ஆர் த டிஃபரண்ட் டைப்ஸ் ஆஃப் அத்தாரிட்டி, வாட் இஸ் பியூரோக்ரசி, வாட் இஸ் ஐடியல் டைப் பியூரோக்ரசி, அதான். இதுதான் primary things, major things to be known. What are the things to be known? Things not to be known may be known or may not be known. That is different, but major things should be known to everyone. Now let us come to know the ideas of Barnard. He is one of the thinkers included in the bureaucratic theory. No, in the behavioral theory. Barnard. When you say Barnard, his contributions are, you find, the theory of contributions, the organization. First one is towards the organization. Second one is theory of contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium. Then third major, the most important contribution of Barnard is acceptance theory of authority. Third, the most important theory of authority. And the fourth one is principles of communications. Then main thing is executive function. What are the executive functions? Three major functions of the executive. That thing we have to study. So in the next class we will discuss these things and other contributions also, the ideas of Barnard. Then what are the other contributions like Argyris and Rensis Likert contribution in the behavioral theory. Then what is system theory as a major theory of public administration, like that. This major theory we have to complete. We have to discuss. Then we will go to the administrative behavior. What are the minor theory that are included in the administrative behavior, like communication, leadership theory. You find the motivation theory, like that. These theories are included in the administrative behavior. Minor theories are included. The major theories now we are discussing. Some more theory we have discussed so far in this class. That is scientific management theory, classical theory. Then you find these bureaucratic theory. Three theories we have discussed now. Then now we are coming to this behavioral theory. Let us discuss this thing and other thing in the next class. Until then, I have to say thanks to every one of you. Romba nandri.
Thank you, sir.
நன்றிங்க. நன்றி.